There is a level of confidence that doesn't impress people. It scares them. And once you reach it, you never need approval again. Most people think confidence is loud, but the kind that truly changes power is almost invisible. Confidence is usually sold to us as something loud. A raised voice, a wide stance, a chest pushed forward as if the world needs convincing. But the kind of confidence that truly unsettles people is the opposite of that performance. It is quiet. It is controlled. It does not ask to be noticed, yet it bends the room the moment you enter. You have felt it before, even if you did not have words for it. A person who barely speaks, yet when they do, the conversation stops. Someone who does not explain themselves, does not rush, does not seek approval, and somehow makes everyone else feel slightly exposed. That feeling you sense in them is not arrogance. It is not bravado. It is something colder, sharper, and far more deliberate. It is the kind of confidence Machiavelli understood centuries ago, long before psychology gave it a name. Machiavelli never spoke about confidence as self-belief or positive thinking. He saw it as power expressed through restraint. To him, the most dangerous individuals were not the ones who declared their strength, but the ones who never needed to. In courts filled with ambitious men, he observed that those who survived were rarely the loudest or the most righteous. They were the ones who understood human fear, human desire, and above all, human weakness. They learned to master themselves before attempting to master anyone else, and that mastery created a presence so solid that it disturbed people because it offered no emotional handles to grab onto. The first shift begins internally, long before anyone notices it externally. Most people leak their emotions constantly. Their face reacts before their mind does. Their tone changes when they feel challenged. Their body tightens when they feel judged. This is not honesty. It is exposure. Machiavelli would argue that visibility of emotion is an invitation for manipulation. When people can read you easily, they can predict you. And when they can predict you, they can control you. The terrifying confidence begins when you close that window. Not by becoming numb, but by becoming selective. You still feel deeply, but you no longer broadcast those feelings to the room. You allow silence to replace reaction, and in that silence, others begin to project their own fears onto you. There is something deeply unsettling about someone who does not rush to defend themselves. Most people, when accused or questioned, instinctively scramble to explain, to justify, to prove their innocence or worth. This reflex reveals insecurity, even when the explanation is true. Machiavelli understood that power often lies in letting accusations breathe. When you do not immediately respond, the accuser is forced to confront their own uncertainty. They begin to wonder if they have misjudged you, or worse, if you are so confident that their opinion simply does not matter. Silence becomes a mirror, and many people do not like what they see when faced with it. As this internal discipline grows, your external behavior changes almost accidentally. Your movements slow down not because you are trying to appear calm, but because urgency no longer controls you. You stop filling gaps in conversation with unnecessary words. You listen more than you speak, and when you speak, your words land heavier because they are rare. People start leaning in, not physically, but psychologically. They begin to seek your reactions, your approval, your response. You have not demanded authority. You have allowed others to assign it to you. Machiavelli believed that people are more frightened by what they cannot read than by what they can. When your intentions are obvious, you are manageable. When your intentions are unclear, you become a variable, and variables make people uneasy. This does not mean being deceptive in every interaction. It means not revealing everything about yourself too quickly. You let others talk. You let them reveal their values, their fears, their ambitions, while you remain a step removed, observing rather than participating emotionally. Over time, this creates an asymmetry. They feel known, you remain unknown, and that imbalance is power. There is a moment that comes when this confidence begins to change how people treat you. They hesitate before interrupting you. They reconsider before challenging you. Not because you have threatened them, but because they sense that you are not easily moved. Your emotional center feels anchored somewhere deeper than theirs. Machiavelli would say that at this point, you have achieved something rare. You are no longer reactive. You are strategic by nature. Your confidence is no longer something you perform. It is something others experience. This kind of presence does not come from believing you are better than others. In fact, it often comes from seeing people very clearly, without illusion. Machiavelli had no romantic view of human nature. He believed people were driven by self-interest, fear, and desire for status. When you truly accept this, you stop being shocked by betrayal, disrespect, or manipulation. And when you stop being shocked, you stop being shaken. Your calm becomes unbreakable because it is built on realism, not hope. People sense this and it unsettles them because most of them are still living inside comforting stories about how the world should work. Over time, this confidence begins to feel almost invisible to you. You are no longer trying to be intimidating. You are simply grounded. But to others, especially those who rely on emotional control or social dominance, your presence feels threatening. They cannot provoke you easily. They cannot flatter you into submission. They cannot predict your reactions. And so they grow cautious. In Machiavellian terms, you have become someone who is respected not because you are loved, but because you are solid. And solidity is rare in a world built on impulse. The final transformation happens quietly. You stop needing validation altogether. Compliments no longer inflate you, and criticism no longer defines you. You understand that most opinions say more about the speaker than about you. This emotional independence is what truly terrifies people because it removes their leverage. When someone cannot be controlled by praise or punishment, they become free. And freedom in social dynamics often looks like danger. At this point, confidence is no longer something you think about. It is simply the absence of inner conflict. You are not fighting yourself, so others cannot fight you either. Machiavelli would recognize this as the highest form of power. Control of the self. Not flashy, not dramatic, but absolute. And once you reach it, you will notice something strange. You will speak less, yet be heard more. You will move through rooms without effort, yet leave a lasting impression. And people will not always know why you unsettle them. They will just know that when you are present, the air feels different. The difference now is not just how others respond to you, but how you experience the world itself. When confidence reaches this level, life stops feeling like a series of tests you must pass and starts feeling like a landscape you move through at your own pace. Situations that once triggered anxiety now feel distant, almost neutral, because your sense of self is no longer tied to immediate outcomes. Machiavelli understood this detachment well. He believed that those who remain inwardly calm while others panic gain an advantage not through force, but through clarity. When you are not emotionally invested in proving anything, you see more, you hear more, and you make decisions that are colder, sharper, and often more effective. People around you begin to reveal themselves without realizing it. In moments of stress, insecurity leaks out of them in small, unconscious ways. Their voice rises. Their gestures become erratic. Their words grow excessive, as if talking more might regain control. You, however, remain still. Not frozen, but composed. This contrast magnifies your presence. Machiavelli would say that power is always relative. You do not need to dominate the room. You only need to be the calmest person in it. Calm in a chaotic environment feels almost supernatural to those who lack it. As this presence solidifies, you start to notice something unsettling about social dynamics. Many people are not driven by truth or logic, but by emotion and perception. They respond not to what is real, but to what feels dominant. This is why the terrifying confidence is not aggressive. Aggression signals insecurity and urgency. True confidence has patience. It can wait. It can allow others to make mistakes. And when the moment arrives, it speaks with precision. Machiavelli admired this quality deeply because it reflects control over time, not just over people. There will be moments when others test you. They may challenge your ideas, question your competence, or subtly attempt to undermine your authority. The instinct to defend yourself will arise because it is human. But this is where the final discipline is forged. You respond only when response adds value. Sometimes you correct, sometimes you clarify, and sometimes you do nothing at all. This restraint confuses people because it denies them the emotional exchange they were seeking. They wanted friction. They wanted reaction. Instead, they encounter stillness, and stillness is difficult to fight. Over time, this confidence reshapes your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone navigating social hierarchies and start seeing yourself as someone operating above them. Not superior, but detached. Machiavelli would argue that detachment is not cruelty. It is self-preservation. When you are too emotionally entangled, you become predictable. When you are predictable, you become exploitable. By maintaining emotional distance, you protect your autonomy. Others may interpret this as mystery, arrogance, or even coldness. Let them. Their interpretation is not your responsibility. What truly terrifies people is not that you are unkind or manipulative, but that you are unaffected. They cannot easily shame you, impress you, or provoke you. You are not chasing their approval, and you are not afraid of their rejection. This places you outside the usual social contracts that govern behavior. Most people operate on unspoken agreements. I praise you, you like me. I criticize you, you react. When you break this pattern, you expose how fragile those agreements really are. Machiavelli warned that power must be handled carefully. Confidence without awareness can become recklessness, but confidence rooted in self-control becomes something else entirely. It becomes influence. People begin to adjust their behavior around you unconsciously. They choose their words more carefully. They second-guess their assumptions, not because you have demanded respect, but because your presence has trained them to. This is not manipulation in the crude sense. It is the natural outcome of consistency and composure over time. Eventually, you reach a point where confidence feels less like a trait and more like an atmosphere that follows you. You do not think about how you are perceived. You think about what is necessary, what is strategic, what is true. And in doing so, you free yourself from the emotional noise that consumes most people. Machiavelli would say that this is where freedom and power intersect. You are no longer ruled by fear of loss because you understand that most things people fear losing were never fully in their control to begin with. The quiet irony is that once you reach this state, you stop caring whether you intimidate others. You are not trying to terrify anyone. You are simply whole. And yet, to those who are still fragmented by insecurity, still reactive to every slight and every praise, your wholeness feels threatening. It reminds them of what they lack. It reflects back their dependence on external validation, and that reflection is uncomfortable. This is the confidence Machiavelli hinted at, not in speeches or slogans, but in observation, a confidence built on self-mastery, emotional restraint, and deep understanding of human nature. It does not shout. It does not rush. It does not explain itself. It exists. And in a world full of noise, that existence alone is enough to command attention, shape outcomes, and, yes, quietly terrify those who sense its weight but cannot touch its source.